Hello everyone and welcome to the next mini tutorial here on the Duct Tape Stuff channel. In this mini tutorial I'm going to be going over pretty much how to eliminate the crease in your wallet, as well as make sure that the tops of the wallet when you fold it together don't get all crumpled up and stuff like that. And I'm going to give you an example of pretty much what this looks like. Basically, when you make a wallet and you stick the two sheets together, sometimes the duct tape can really pull on itself in different ways, and that can kind of end up with the, if you look at your wallet from the top here, it can end up with the different pieces kind of getting pulled in different directions. And when you open the wallet, you get kind of like these giant lines where it starts to unfold itself and stuff like that. So you can definitely tell by looking at your wallet if it's being affected by this. If you look up and it's not one straight line, like for example this one here. So basically that's what you want to go for when you make a wallet, is you want those lines to be completely straight so that it doesn't get all crumpled up like it does on this one here. So I'm going to show you two methods that I use pretty much when I'm making my wallets to kind of eliminate the crease, as well as make sure that those lines at the top stay straight, those two sheets line up correctly when you make the wallet. So let's go over the first design right here, right now. Okay, so before we get started here, bear in mind that the two ways I'm going to show you are not dependent on each other in any way, shape, or form. You're either going to be able to do one way or the other. You won't be able to do both of them on the same wallet, because both of the ways I'm going to show you have to do with the way that the core part of the wallet is made. So you won't be able to combine both of these methods into one wallet. So let's get started here on the first part. Now basically the way I showed you in my original bifold tutorial, I showed you how to make a wallet by taking two of these sheets here, two rectangular sheets, making them the same size, and then sticking them on top of each other just like this. Now if you take your wallet and you make these two sheets exactly identical, you'll notice that when you fold them together just like this, that the inside sheet here has to be smaller because it's inside, and the outside sheet actually has more length to go around to cover up to the part here to the very end. So there's really one really easy way to fix that, and that's basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your sheet here and you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're just going to trim just a little bit off the side here. It doesn't really have to be much. I'd say probably like a 1/6 of an inch. Now bear in mind, if you made your wallet exactly to measure, that this is going to cut into your measurements just a little bit. So if it was just barely able to fit a dollar bill in the billfold, you might want to make your wallet a little bit bigger if you do use this method. So this is obviously going to be the inside sheet when you fold it this way, but since this sheet is now smaller, it'll give the wallet a little bit of room, and you'll notice that those two inside sheets meet there at the same point, and the two outside sheets meet at the same point as well. So when you do fold the wallet together, those two sheets will hopefully be able to meet and stay just like that. So let's take the long strip here, and you're going to stick this together exactly the same way that you would normally stick the wallet together, just like this. Half of it on this side, half of it on the other side. Now bear in mind, both of these processes aren't exact formulas. You may have to work with your wallet a little bit just to make sure you don't end up with those crazy warped lines I was showing you at the very beginning. So if you don't get it at first, just definitely take some time and make sure that you experiment a little bit to get it right. So I just folded it in the center there, so now we do this once again. And you'll notice how I just hold it here, it is kind of ending up a little bit on this side here, so I'm going to crease this down a little bit more and see what it looks like. Generally, if you crease it down and you're not noticing a lot of warp lines inside there, then you should be pretty good. And obviously this is just with the bottom part sealed in. You definitely do want to seal up these sides eventually. To do that, instead of actually sealing it up with the entire wallet open like that, since it's supposed to be like this eventually, it's going to be folded up, I usually take a piece of duct tape and hold that down while I attach the bottom here, flip it over, still holding it closed, and then attach the other side here. So instead of it folding up like this, and then that could affect how you're actually how the wallet's eventually going to fold. So you definitely want to play around with that. Make sure you eventually do get it so that you do have two straight lines up here, and it'll eventually look just like that. So that's one way of doing it. The second way I'm going to show you actually involves making a sheet and then folding the sheet together to make the wallet. So we'll work on that part next. Okay, so for the second step, we're actually going to go back all the way before you make your wallet, and you would make it completely differently. So instead of making those two rectangular sheets that I showed you and attaching them in the bottom and then on the sides, you can make your wallet a little bit differently and just make one giant sheet of tape by sticking, the strips together, flipping it over, and making the giant sheet just like this. Obviously, the sheet will be double the height of your normal wallet, so obviously when you fold that sheet together, it will become your bifold wallet. And obviously, you can tell this is pre-folded because it's already got the lines for it. But basically what you would do is you take your sheet here, and each sheet seems to be a little bit different. So if you take your one side and fold it which way, it really depends on the way the sheet's made. It'll have a better way of folding than the other. So you want to either fold it this way, or you can obviously fold it this way. And obviously it made more sense to fold it this way because that's the way that the sheets were set up. But it'll be a little bit different for each of your wallets that you make for your sheets. So basically, once you figure out which way you want to fold it, you want to fold it together. You definitely want to crease the bottom here, because there's going to be a decent amount of tape in there, just because when you made that giant sheet and overlapping them back and forth, you're definitely going to have a decent amount of duct tape in there. So you definitely want to make sure that that is definitely creased down. At this point, you may even stick a heavy book on top of that for a while, but I'm not going to show you that just for this one. So once you get it lined up here at the top, it may fight you a little bit just because that's where the tape is stuck together. You're obviously going to either fold it this way or fold it this way, and it makes more sense to fold it this way because that's the way that it wants to fold. So you're going to pretty much just seal this up the same way you did the other one. You can see that it's a little bit, for this one, it's becoming a little bit warped there. So basically what you can do is that you can smooth this crease out on the bottom and then smooth it out the top. Most of the problems arise from the stem as well as the bottom, obviously where it's attached. So you definitely want to modify those just a little bit depending on where you're getting your warp lines inside here. So you got that. You'll notice that the inside sheet here is sticking out a little bit. You can see that a little bit. So you have a few options there. If it looks like with those sticking out that it looks like it's completely flat, like it is right there, you can actually just take a pair of scissors and just trim that right off and then wrap it around and seal it. And just like I showed you before, I would recommend that you seal up the sides with it folded closed. So hold it on the top here, stick that on, then flip the whole thing over, and then stick that part on there, and that'll help you work on that just a little bit. You definitely want to make sure that it does line up at the top, though, because you'll look at that those two are kind of disappearing inside the wallet. So you definitely want to make sure that those two stay on the same level as the ones up top. Otherwise, when you get your wallet and you open it up, it'll look like something like that, where you'll have like one side that's higher and one side that isn't. So you can either obviously trim that off if you get that, or if you want to do a little precaution, you can make sure that they are the same when you fold it and stick it together. So it's going to take a little bit of maneuvering. The more tape that you use when you make your wallet will definitely increase the chances of there being those warp lines. That's what I'm going to call them in there, like right there. So you definitely want to make sure that you do mess around with it until you get those clear lines, and then hopefully once you stick your cards and all your money inside the billfold, it will eventually end up straight, and you'll have a decent looking wallet like this one here on the top. So that's basically how to hopefully eliminate the crease on here. It's also going to help when you make the crease, as well as eliminate those warp lines that kind of end up in the wallets, because I've seen a lot of people when they make their wallets, they kind of end up with a lot of those crazy stuff like on this one here, as you can tell. Two nice ones, and then obviously one that's a little bit messed up there, and they can look a lot worse than that. So you definitely want to take some precaution, make sure you make your wallet right so it doesn't end up with a whole bunch of ugly lines like that. So that pretty much concludes this mini tutorial. There will be more videos coming, so take care, subscribe if you want to, stay tuned to the channel. There will be more videos coming later.